I think it first starts with the audience, right? Because if you look at platforms like, say, Google Search, right, it's all based on the intent. There could be an enterprise company searching,
That's
somebody
it.
looking for startups or self-serve platforms, or somewhere in between. So
Yeah.
one thing is, while you can keep scaling that and running that through, it doesn't guarantee that you will strike gold with enterprise every single time. However, the biggest factor in enterprise is your size of audience, which you can get through multiple kinds of platforms, like Zoom Info or Apollo, and enrich the same, right? Now, you have different channels of deployment. So the way I look at it is, right, an enterprise customer cannot come from just one touch point in most cases. You either and I've seen this. There has been one instance where I've seen an enterprise customer talk to somebody at an event, then they spoke to somebody else from the sales team. They clicked on an ad, consumed an article. Even one case where there was an enterprise customer that parent company was in another country, but they converted in another country. So they had two different sort of, businesses in that point.
Nice.
So it's a very complex journey, the bigger the company, I would say,
Absolutely.
because one is there are more decision makers. Number two is there are bigger budgets involved, so the sales cycle tends to get a little longer. But more importantly, it's all about how much you put there, right? You can't be one dimensional. Paid cannot do it alone. SEO cannot do it alone. Content cannot do it. Everything needs to be
True.
tied together at the end of the day. So the way I would put it from the paid angle is, the more in terms of being expensive, like you mentioned, right? The more specific you are in terms of going after the audience, that's first ensuring that whatever audience you're pulling out, it's lent to the best possible, right? Because what happens is usually, if you take that audience and upload it, you'll find a lot of mismatch. There'll be a lot of challenges. Might be some errors, and then you end up serving a lot of your impressions, which cost money on platforms like LinkedIn, to the wrong audience, and it's not the best use of your money. But however, if you first narrow down and fix your audience, it all starts with the TAM. In an enterprise, especially, you need to have your TAM on lock. Once your TAM is on lock, it's defining what your messaging is, right? Because when you talk to an enterprise company, you might have to showcase better stuff. For example, your logos. Now, if you have enterprise logos, they resonate. Okay, if these guys trust this company, we should definitely talk to them. It's also about how specific your communications, what kind of assets are you putting out? Are you putting out stuff relevant to the industry? Because nowadays everybody just wants to generic approach. Generic doesn't work anymore. You have to go
Yeah.
industry wide. You have to also speak to that specific geography, that specific place that person is coming from, and the specific kind of mindset that person might have, right? Somebody in North America versus somebody say in India, they while they're looking for the same product, their buying decision can be affected by multiple factors.
Of course.
So once you narrow down your TAM and you get it in place, then you have to look at different channels, right? Because like I said, you can never directly convert in most cases through one platform. There'll be a multi-touch attribution, unless you're probably not measuring that already. So if you look at a platform like LinkedIn, for example, you can definitely upload there and target them on LinkedIn, because you can go after certain enterprise companies. You can marry the audience that you pull out with LinkedIn's platform data and then sort of showcase ads there. You have multiple types of campaigns. You can
Yep.
engage them with all forms of assets, and experiment and try. And this is something that even I've done when I was running campaigns on LinkedIn, where I've tried pretty much every campaign that they had under the sun to ensure what works best. But most importantly, it all depends on what's the KPI you're measuring, right? Because LinkedIn,
Yeah.
it's not a direct bottom of the funnel platform. It's supposed to work as an influencing platform. And most of the times, what I've seen is when companies miss out is they are only looking at it from a direct use case and seeing what's bringing in directly. But what other business might have come, what other kind of customers might have
Yeah.
come that got influenced by LinkedIn, that's probably being missed out. So you have
Yeah.
to deploy all those measurement protocols in place to see how exactly the channel provides value. Because if you just look at it on a direct cost per lead rather than versus faring against your overall revenue, I think that perception is very important. Then, of course, that's the part of LinkedIn. You also have platforms
Yep.
on ABM, such as your Sixth Sense, your demand base. Now,
Yep.
those help you with much more precise targeting. You can even literally reach out to the person in specifics and talk to them. So I think if
Yeah.
you're looking at an enterprise model, it's not just about trying to scale and spray and pray, right? You have to be more laser focused to ensure that you
Yeah.
get the best